Tonight on CTV News, weather wreaking havoc.
Discovered that we had multiple people trapped on their properties because of the slide.
A landslide cuts off homes in Coquitlam after days of pounding rain. A dramatic long-line rescue of the residents and their pets.
LNG Canada is exporting to Asia now, and we've got 4 LNG projects under construction.
Iran attacks threaten the global supply of LNG. Could BC capitalize on the demand, or is it a missed opportunity?
Very often just a way to sell somebody something.
Fighting false medical information online. The new Vancouver influencer who also happens to be a doctor.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a landslide in Coquitlam that has forced the evacuation of 4 homes. The conditions were too treacherous for the residents to walk out on their own. A helicopter had to be called in to long line them out. Crews also rescued stranded pets. CTV's Michelle Bernoro joins us from Pipeline Road in Coquitlam with the latest.
And Mijung, the road behind me remains shut down after a mudslide this morning left 8 people trapped on their properties.
Coquitlam search and rescue members were long lined in after a mudslide roared down this morning.
We did that, discovered that we had multiple people trapped on their properties because of the slide.
These pictures showing some of the damage caused by the mud and debris, which also knocked down power lines. Stranded residents were brought back to safety one by one.
The folks that I talked to were shaken, but all in very good spirits, and it appeared in very good condition.
In total, 8 adults were rescued along with 2 dogs and a cat.
The homes, I couldn't see any damage in the homes, but they were wrapped. They were completely surrounded by very liquefied gravel and sand.
Rescued residents were loaded onto a bus and taken to a small reception center. The slide comes as an atmospheric river continues to pummel the south coast, and with it, freezing levels have been pushed up.
So what that's doing is some of the higher elevation areas are getting rain and snow events, which is even exacerbating the runoff situation and producing more runoff.
The concern, the worst of this storm may still be to come.
Tomorrow is going to be a really challenging time to commute, probably the most dangerous period of time from a river standpoint as well. Certainly the possibility is always there for landslides or road washouts or culverts getting clogged.
People are being urged to be vigilant around rivers and check for road updates before heading out. As for these folks, no doubt they face today, they won't soon forget.
Geotechnical engineers are now assessing the area around the mudslide to determine if it is safe. Bijang?
Thanks, Michelle. And a mudslide is causing disruptions to the West Coast Express. The service has been fully suspended. Dimitra Maragos is following this in the Breaking News Center. Dam, what do we know?
Yeah, Mijung, CPKC is telling CTV News the mudslide left debris scattered across the tracks in Maple Ridge. You can see passengers here stranded at the Coquitlam station. CPKC confirming crews are already on the scene looking at the damage. Now, passengers are being told to take the SkyTrain to Coquitlam Central, where extra buses are running to cover the remaining West Coast Express stops. Additional staff are stationed at Waterfront and Coquitlam Central to help direct commuters. No word yet on when service will be resumed. The last train normally leaves Waterfront at 6:20. Jung?
Okay, we'll continue to track that situation. Thank you, Dam. And a few months after major flooding in Abbotsford, the city's mayor says this round of atmospheric river is not causing a lot of anxiety. Speaking with CTV News today, Ross Siemens said this storm has hit farther north than the one in December, and he is not concerned about floodwaters from the Nooksack.
Out on Matsqui Prairie in Claiborne Village, there's some localized flooding. We have one road closed as a result, and that's very common for this time of year. There are some other areas that we're watching closely, some ditches, and just the water table is high.
The mayor says he has been working closely with the federal government on long-term flood mitigation in the city, and that he is cautiously optimistic on the progress made. And Anne is here. When we hear atmospheric river, that is very stressful for a lot of people. This time it seemed to hit Coquitlam the hardest.
Yes, nearly 300 millimeters of rain has fallen since Sunday. It's falling at about 7 millimeters an hour. So very heavy rainfall right now for Coquitlam as well as the Fraser Valley. So orange rainfall warning in effect for the northeast corner as well as the Fraser Valley, upwards of 130 millimeters of rain into tomorrow, and a yellow rainfall warning for West Vancouver Island, Metro Vancouver, as well as Howe Sound, upwards of 130 millimeters of rain. A little less for the Sea to Sky Highway, Whistler, and the Fraser Canyon. You'll see about 80 millimeters of rain. So just a reminder, right now it has been elevated to a flood watch. That is the Fraser Basin as well as the South Coast Basin. So expected to see a flooding as we head into tomorrow morning.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises, customizing dream vacations with unbelievable value. Call or learn more at expediacruises.ca.
And the rain does end tomorrow afternoon, so we will get to see some sunny breaks and dry off as we head into the weekend, Mijung.
It will be a welcome break from the rain. All right, thanks, Anne. Now to the murder trial of a man accused of stabbing another man outside a downtown Vancouver Starbucks. A psychologist called by the defense faced cross-examination by the Crown today. As CTV's Ben Milger reports, he called the accused's history of carrying knives troubling, saying if true, it changes his assessment, and a warning about some of the details in this story.
Dr. Johan Brink took the stand for a second consecutive day, talking about the complex factors he believes contributed to Inderdeep Singh Ghosal's reaction to an altercation at a Vancouver coffee shop. After it got physical, Paul Schmidt died after being stabbed 6 times. Schmidt and Gosal didn't know each other. The court has already heard testimony about Gosal's diagnosis of schizophrenia. Dr. Brink told the court the case is nuanced and complex, and he couldn't attribute all of Gosal's actions to his psychosis. If I believed that all this was purely the result of psychosis, then I would have recommended to counsel that a defense of NCR should be considered. NCR refers to not criminally responsible due to mental disorder. It has not been raised in this trial. Under cross-examination, the Crown pressed Dr. Brink on contradictions in Gosal's statements. He has said he found the knife in an alley the day of the fight and told the psychiatrist he had never previously owned a knife. But the court has heard police found Gosal carrying a knife during interactions in 2016 and 2017. Dr. Brink said if Gosal habitually walked around with a knife, it changes the scenario. A man who goes about armed with a knife would suggest that he plans to use it because he anticipates the need for it. Dr. Brink returns to the stand Friday, still under cross-examination. Next week, the Crown intends to call its own psychologist as a rebuttal witness, and then the two sides will present their closing arguments. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
A 41-year-old man has been arrested following an armed robbery at a gas station in Abbotsford. Officers were called to the 2000 block of Clearbrook Road shortly after 9 a.m. on Tuesday. The suspect threatened an employee with a weapon before fleeing the scene with cash and merchandise. The staff member was not injured. Police say Kevin Oakley is now facing a slew of charges. If you spend any time at all on social media, you've no doubt seen plenty of medical misinformation and wellness influencers. Some of them tout supplements or unproven treatments that can cost big bucks or affect your health. Now doctors are fighting fire with fire by promoting their own influencers. CTV's Penny Daflos explains.
At first blush, they seem like a lot of reels on social media.
Stop doom scrolling.
But this isn't just entertainment.
I have no idea what the hell I'm saying.
It's actually a very thoughtful move targeting medical mis and disinformation.
It's a real skill set to be able to explain things in the types of language that anybody will understand.
The Canadian Medical Association has a growing team of influencers taking facts to Canadians on the social media platforms where they already spend time.
We need to make sure that we're interesting enough that people are engaging and wanting to watch videos, wanting to understand what we have to say, while still making sure that you you are providing the evidence, that you are making sure that your advice is sound.
The videos range from basic info about hospitals to highlighting the absurdity and harms found in the wellness industry.
Do not put strange things into your vagina.
Super surprised at some of the videos of mine that have taken off. Like I have one about constipation that tens of thousands of people have watched, and I'm like, really? Okay, great.
Rita McCracken is a family doctor in Vancouver, quickly growing her online presence with evidence-based communication.
I'm glad to have a chance to speak to folks and to use my training and my ability to parse through the evidence.
There's all these different incentives for people to monetize misinformation and really very few guardrails to protect against it.
Wes Regan is studying these issues at UBC and is giving the Healthcare for Real project top marks for tackling everything from juice cleanses to artificial intelligence to adult ADHD diagnoses.
It comes off as authentic, which I think is important because a lot of the issues of trust often boil down to people feeling that these large institutions are these distant, opaque, big machines.
Because behind those cheeky videos,
'tis but a scratch,
are serious messages about pricey or even dangerous alternatives.
She was afraid of getting vaccinated blood. So this became a very life or death situation for this individual because of misinformation.
Another reason to take a good look at whose information you're absorbing. Penny Dafflaw, CTV News, Vancouver.
Gas prices are once again on the rise in Metro Vancouver. Some stations today seeing prices as high as $2.16.9 a litre. That's a 7-cent jump from yesterday. And unfortunately, the pain at the pump isn't going to stop, with prices anticipated to go up again tomorrow. The global supply of liquefied natural gas is also threatened after a missile strike by Iran wiped out key gas installations in Qatar. The damage so severe, output will be limited for up to 5 years. Tonight, some are suggesting this is an opportunity for BC's LNG industry. CTV's Martin McMahon takes a look at whether we can fill that void.
Right now, the world needs Canada's LNG.
Iran admits it struck the largest LNG field in the world, which is in Qatar. It's retaliation for an Israeli strike on its largest gas facility. And with Qatar set to face major export challenges for years, there are calls to ramp up LNG in BC, including from former BC Premier Christy Clark, who championed the industry while in power.
If the regulatory process hadn't got all gummed up by the Trudeau government and then the NDP government that came in 2017, I absolutely am sure that we would be helping the world right now by shipping LNG from British Columbia.
Energy Minister Adrian Dix is pushing back on the idea BC missed a window to ramp up production.
Well, when John Horgan became a premier, there were 0 LNG projects in BC. We now have one that's exporting. LNG Canada is exporting to Asia now, and we've got 4 LNG projects under construction, with more in the approval stage. So BC is well positioned because of the policies we've taken in the last few years.
Ultimately, the Premier says LNG will be a focus and companies will look at stability.
And it just underlines our case, as tragic as it is, that British Columbia is a safe place in an incredibly uncertain world.
But I think what we're seeing in the Middle East underlines Canada's selling point, which is that we're a much more stable environment, not as risky and not as prone to these kinds of disruptions.
But some fear increased urgency could lead to environmental compromise.
We behave as though we are beholden to these technologies, to these companies, and as if Canada's only option is to exploit and export our resources as fast as we can. We know that's not true.
The supply crunch comes with 4 LNG projects under construction, and LNG Canada's owners expected to make a decision this year on expanding its Kitimat facility. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Premier David Eby was in Surrey today to check in on the progress of the new Surrey-Langley SkyTrain extension.
We got British Columbians building British Columbia's future. These are unionized workers earning a decent wage, not being exploited, working in a safe workplace, and building up infrastructure that was long overdue for communities like Surrey.
David Eby visited the project's concrete facility, which is producing more than 4,400 segments for the elevated guideway. He says 3 kilometers of that guideway is now complete, along with about 2/3 of the columns and nearly all the foundations for the columns on the full 16-kilometer route. The new SkyTrain line is set to open in late 2029. A commercial truck driver has been fined for what police are calling an unbelievably high number of violations during a recent enforcement blitz in Burnaby. The driver was fined more than $1,200 for violations that included replacing a fuel cap with a plastic sandwich bag and securing it with a charging cable. Police also say the truck's emergency brake was inoperative and its steering mechanism defective. The Lower Mainland Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Group inspected 67 vehicles during the one-day operation last month and pulled more than half of them off the road. With the high price of gold, criminals are using fake gold jewelry to defraud people. We'll explain. Also ahead.
You have complainants that are being terrorized in many ways through the actions of these individuals.
Police appear to be getting the upper hand on the extortion crime wave using deportation instead of criminal charges. When CTV News continues, stay with us. Police in Alberta are taking a new approach to deal with alleged extortionists targeting the South Asian community. As CTV's Amanda Anderson reports, police say deporting the accused instead of charging them is proving effective.
Edmonton police say extortions targeting the city's South Asian community stopped for 7 months after 7 people were charged through Project Gaslight.
In the spring of 2025, we saw a cluster of these extortion events now reemerge.
Lessons learned from Project Gaslight led Edmonton police to work with other agencies as it embarked on the new investigation called Project Extortion.
Because we understand that the criminal organizations that are responsible for these extortions travel across this country and seek to escape punishment by moving to different jurisdictions.
5 people were arrested. 2 of them, a 22-year-old man who police call the local ringleader and a 26-year-old man, have already been deported.
Working with CBSA, we utilize pertinent immigration legislation to facilitate the removal of these individuals from Canada.
Police say dozens are linked to the criminal network involved in the local extortions.
The structure of these groups is a tiered, predatory network of organized crime where the risk is local, the revenue is global.
The CBSA has initiated 372 extortion-related immigration investigations. 51 of those are directly tied to this investigation in Edmonton.
The CBSA can't remove a foreign national from the country until criminal charges are resolved or, if convicted, their sentence complete. While police say charges are important, involving the CBSA helped them resolve the problems faster.
Public safety is first and foremost, and you have complainants that are being terrorized in many ways through the actions of these individuals. You try to figure out how can you nullify and eliminate that threat.
That's probably harsher than any jail term that they would ever get. I would suggest that consequence is, if it is a forever ban from Canada, that's a huge consequence, and a lot of people don't want to risk that.
Criminologist Dan Jones says it's an interesting approach, but questions what happens if the individual wants to return to Canada in the future if charges aren't laid.
Until you get proven guilty in court, either by judge or judge and jury, you are presumed to be innocent.
Since the arrests, police say the extortions by this group have stopped in Edmonton. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
RCMP have arrested 2 people in connection to a gold jewelry scam that was making the rounds on Vancouver Island. The scam involves people being approached in parking lots by individuals claiming they have run out of money for gas or food. The victims of the scam would be offered gold jewelry in a trade for cash. That jewelry was fake. Mounties say after an extensive investigation, they have identified and arrested 2 people in relation to the fraud. The suspects are identified as a 45-year-old woman and a 45-year-old man, both residents of Ontario.
We had at least 9 different incidents reported since January. We can't say that they're all connected by the same suspects. However, the suspects that we did get were identified in at least one of the 9 scams that was ongoing. And in several of the cases, there were actually children that were in the suspect's vehicle, and those children were being portrayed as, basically being used to gain the sympathies of the victims.
RCMP say even though these 2 suspects have been arrested, investigators believe there are more suspects out there committing this type of fraud. Parking enforcement officers in Vancouver will now be equipped with body cams after a growing number of violent incidents. The decision comes after a 6-month pilot project that showed a reduction in the amount of physical and verbal abuse towards the officers. It found an approximately 26% decline in violent incidents from the year prior. The city says the cameras will only be used as a safety measure and not to enforce parking tickets. Global issues are changing travel patterns for Canadians and making it more expensive. Also coming up.
Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Some awkward moments between Donald Trump and Japan's Prime Minister. Trump questioned about why he didn't tell allies before attacking Iran. That's coming up. Tomorrow's the vernal equinox, and that makes Saturday and Sunday the first official weekend of spring. We've got a full list of fun things to check out on our website, ctvnewsvancouver.ca. It's not just here in BC. The price of gas is rising right across the country as the Iran war spreads to energy sites in the Persian Gulf. Iranian attacks have been reported on energy infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. The strikes have rattled markets and are leading to concerns about disruption to the global supply chain, with energy prices jumping 10% this morning.
This war has really gone from a short, sharp Venezuelan in and out to it could be this decade's version of a quagmire for the United States. Again, just a la Iraq, Afghanistan, but this one's actually got more impacts because it's economic.
In Lebanon, Israel stepped up its attacks on Beirut as the country's prime minister calls for negotiations to end it. The death toll in Lebanon has now climbed past 1,000, with an estimated 1 million people internally displaced. Donald Trump had some choice words today as he met with Japan's new prime minister. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is looking for another major financial boost to fund the war in Iran. CTV's Joy Malbon reports from Washington.
It's an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
Japan's new prime minister walking a fine line with this president, the pacifist nation condemning Iran and its pursuit of a nuclear weapon.
Only you, Donald, who can achieve peace across the world.
But like other allies, reluctant to jump into the president's war, offering economic support instead of warships. Trump is still bitter with NATO nations who rejected his initial call for military support to secure the Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil supply route blocked by Iran.
I expect Japan to step up because, we have that kind of relationship. I'm not surprised that they would step up. We don't need much. We don't need anything.
And with more attacks on oil and gas facilities in the Middle East, rattling energy markets, and fast becoming a global crisis, the Trump administration says it plans to remove U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil stranded on ships. Trump was pressed, though, on why he didn't inform allies first before going to war.
We didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay?
The president facing political pushback as the price tag mounts, and the Pentagon now asking for another $200 billion to fund this war.
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys.
And that's raising eyebrows in Congress.
How long is this going on? Are there going to be boots on the ground? How much is this going to cost? And the answer on most of this is, I don't know.
Hoping to reassure Americans, the president claims his operation in Iran will be over pretty soon, saying that he has no plans to deploy ground troops at this time. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
Global conflicts are reshaping the behavior of Canadian travelers who are looking to escape the winter for a trip down south. Cartel violence in Puerto Vallarta scared away some travelers, and power outages and food shortages in Cuba forced airlines to suspend flights. The war in the Middle East is driving up the price of jet fuel, and many airlines have already increased their fares. Buying tickets early is already costing more than expected.
Prices go up 20-30% on flights for the summer, so people are starting to plan a little earlier and really hoping that they capture those savings before the prices go up even more.
The low Canadian dollar is also having an impact, leading many Canadians to choose destinations where their money stretches further. Why animal rights activists want to end the practice of Wiarton Willie predicting whether winter will end early. And Bachelorette bombshell. ABC is canceling the entire season just days before it was set to launch. The video that's forcing them to hit pause. That's ahead. The death of Ontario's beloved forecasting groundhog, Wiarton Willie. Animal rights activists are hoping to bury the practice of using live animals for the traditional winter predictions, and they've offered up a few alternatives.
Such as 3D holographic projections, an animatronic groundhog, or any other alternative that doesn't involve taking yet another live groundhog out of their natural environment.
For more than 7 decades, Willie has emerged from his slumber with either good news or bad. Of course, multiple groundhogs have played the role. PETA wants an end to what it calls the cruel tradition by transitioning to more ethical options. However, the town says Willie brings joy to the community, and they'll be looking for a new prognosticator for the years to come. A surprise visitor popped up at an airport in Australia and, like a lot of travelers, decided to check out the gift shop. A wild possum was found sitting on a shelf filled with stuffed animals, seemingly blending in with its environment at a shop in Tasmania's Hobart Airport yesterday. A passerby recorded the marsupial, who was described by an airport employee as, quote, pretty comfortable with his friends there. The possum later left the shop and just walked around the terminal. If it remained really still, it just would blend in with all the other stuffies, right?
Just like that owl we talked about the other day in the thrift store.
Yes, but unfortunately, you can't take live animals through customs, right?
No, not at all. It probably went back home. It's fine now. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Another wet and gray day for us with this atmospheric river bringing in more rain as we head into tomorrow. So from yesterday to this afternoon, this is how much rain we've seen. An additional 94 millimeters for Maple Ridge, 89 for Coquitlam, close to 300 millimeters already for them. Rocky Point Park, 80 millimeters, 78 at Burnaby Mountain and Pitt Meadows, an additional 65 millimeters of rain. And as mentioned, it's all because of this atmospheric river bringing in plumes of rainfall and subtropical moisture, so warmer temperatures as well, giving way to this snow melts that we're seeing, causing some flooding and landslides. So weather's warning still in effect for West Vancouver Island, parts of Metro Vancouver, as well as Howe Sound, upwards of 130 millimeters into tomorrow morning total. Whistler and the Sea to Sky Highway, as well as the Fraser Canyon, seeing anywhere between 50 to 80 millimeters of rain. Orange rainfall warning in effect for northeast of Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley, 80 to 130 millimeters of rain. That's total into tomorrow morning. Also have a snowfall warning for Chilcotin, a wind warning for the Thompson Okanagan, and a rainfall warning for the Kootenay Columbia region into tomorrow evening as well. So this is what we're looking at right now across our weather tracker. Periods of rain heavy at Chilliwack through the overnight into tomorrow morning. It will be gray and wet, heavy at times for the Fraser Valley. And then tomorrow afternoon, slowly but surely, it dries up and we'll get a breather. We'll get some sunny breaks in there as well, clearing up for the weekend. For your provincial forecast for the northeast corner, Fort St. John, you are looking at 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. For the North Island, 7 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies for Port Hardy with some morning showers. Same goes for Campbell River and Comox. 13 degrees. That's what you can expect for the South Island from Tofino right down to Victoria. Clearing up the afternoon. Temperatures between 10 and 14. Drying up for the Sunshine Coast in the afternoon. Still gray and wet up the Sea to Sky Highway. 10 for Whistler. 7 for Whistler. 10 for Squamish. And for us across the Lower Mainland, we'll see temperatures between 11 and 13 degrees, drying up through the afternoon as well. We say hello to spring at 7:46 in the morning. Clears up nicely for Saturday. Chance of seeing some early morning showers on Sunday. Sunny breaks for Monday. Rain returns on Tuesday with a few showers on Wednesday before it clears up on Thursday, cooling down with highs to 8. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So finally, a little bit of a breath. Everybody gets to dry up tomorrow afternoon and see a lot of sunshine on Saturday.
Because the ground is pretty saturated after days and days of this atmospheric river. All right, thanks, Anne.
Welcome.
A major shakeup for the Bachelorette. ABC has pulled its upcoming season just days before it was set to premiere after a newly surfaced video involving the show's lead. A spokesperson for the network confirming it will not move forward with the fully completed season starring Taylor Frankie Paul, which was scheduled for this Sunday. The decision comes after video surfaced appearing to show a domestic dispute from 2023 for which Paul was arrested. Paul can be seen attacking her ex-boyfriend and at one point throwing bar stools at him in front of her daughter. The network says at this time their focus is on supporting the family. More evidence of the potential troubling impact of screen time on the mental health of teens. Also ahead.
They were really pushing me and, yes, frightening me into thinking that something devastating would happen.
A cautionary story about scammers going door to door trying to convince you your home needs urgent work. How to protect yourself ahead on CTV News at 6.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for under 73 cents to the American dollar. Oil up 9 cents, closing the day at 95.50 cents a barrel. Gold lost nearly $291 on the day. The TSX dropped 457 points. The Dow Jones was down 203 points. Premier David Eby was on the defensive today after the province's credit rating took another hit in the wake of the historic deficit projected in the recently tabled budget.
With this budget, we had to make a decision. Were we going to, as the Conservatives suggested, make healthcare bear the brunt of cuts to be able to meet a credit rating? Or were we going to make sure that we were doing all we can to deliver services for British Columbians, find efficiencies in government, and grow the economy?
BC was downgraded by Moody's ratings, which cited a marked deterioration in the province's credit fundamentals. It says the latest budget confirms a deterioration in long-term fiscal management. This year's budget forecasts a record deficit of $13.3 billion. In a statement today, interim BC Conservative leader Trevor Halford says BC is going broke and that it's time for a government to table a budget that restores confidence. Scammers typically go door to door in the spring, trying to convince people their home needs repairs or renovations. But there have been many cases of fraud this past winter, enough that police have issued a warning to be cautious of aggressive contractors. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
Colleen McMichael says contractors came to her door and offered a free roof inspection. They claimed her home was in such poor shape, her roof was about to collapse. She spent almost $50,000 on shoddy repairs.
They were really pushing me and, yes, frightening me into thinking that something devastating would happen to the roof and to my house if I didn't take care of it.
Someone also knocked on Leslie Bentley's door offering a free inspection. He claimed her roof was in terrible shape and about to cave in. The scammer charged her $7,000 and tried to get her to pay $27,000 more.
I think I started to cry. I was really upset.
Hamilton police issued a warning saying be careful if someone unexpectedly knocks on your door.
If it's a real good contractor, they're going to be booked up during this part of the year especially. So if they just happen to be in your area and they want to help you out with your house, be wary of that.
Warning signs of renovation scams include unsolicited door-to-door offers, sudden price increases once work begins, high-pressure sales tactics, unmarked vehicles and mismatched company names, and poor quality rushed unfinished work. In the roofing scam, the contractor may actually wreck your roof to convince you it needs repairs.
They'll come down and show you pictures of what you're actually dealing with. And they deceive you. They make you think that that's how your home actually is, but they've actually caused the damage, and they're the ones that want the work.
To protect yourself from scams, get multiple estimates, research the company, avoid large upfront payments, don't pay in full until the job is completed, get a written contract, and take your time. Police say as the warm weather arrives, they expect driveway paving scams will begin. Fraudsters may use cheap materials, do a poor job, and then leave debris behind for the homeowners to deal with.
If you feel like your teens are spending more time on their screens than ever, you aren't imagining it. And a new study from Stats Canada shows it may be taking a toll. Researchers followed a group of youth from 2019 to 2023, tracking their screen habits and mental health. They were between 12 and 17 years old when the study started, then 16 to 21 at the check-in. The result? Only 14% consistently met daily screen time guidelines of 2 to 3 hours per day, depending on age.
Among the girls and women, we noticed that those who followed the guidelines were more likely to report that they had not considered suicide in the past 12 months than the women and girls who exceeded the guidelines. On the other hand, when we looked at boys and men, we noticed that those who followed the guidelines were more likely to report getting a grade of 70% or higher in school.
Nearly 60% of those who stayed within the limit reported excellent or very good mental health. For those who consistently exceeded it, that number dropped to just 38%. Still to come tonight, a local legacy of the upcoming World Cup that's just for kids. Plus, proposal surprise. Adam finds out how a local couple's high school refusal led to an international proposal. Next on the Sawatsky sign-off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
It's been nearly a year since Mark Carney was elected Prime Minister. Friday on Your Morning, we're taking a look at his first 12 months in office and what the latest polls are saying. Also, how Canadian teenagers traveling abroad seem to be targeted by drug smugglers. We'll learn about the W5 investigation into a young woman now facing life in a Hong Kong prison. We'll see you in the morning.
It was a big win for the Vancouver Golden Eyes over the New York Sirens.
Shahina with the toe drag in front, wrist shot, scores! And Shahina makes it 1-0 Vancouver!
That was the first of 3 goals scored in the first period, leading them to a 5-2 victory over New York. This was the team's 4th and final matchup against each other. Vancouver will look to continue their momentum on Saturday when they host the Minnesota Frost at the Pacific Coliseum. Game time is at noon. The Blue Jays will be without last year's breakout star and former Vancouver Canadian Trey Savage to start the season. The right-hander will begin the year on the injured list with a shoulder impingement in his throwing arm.
Laying it off, a chance for Vancouver, and they grab the opening goal.
The Vancouver Whitecaps Champions Cup journey is over following a 2-1 loss last night against Seattle. It was a big task for the Caps after losing the first leg 3-0 last week at home. The Whitecaps return to MLS action on Saturday at BC Place against the San Jose Earthquakes. Meanwhile, the Whitecaps are teaming up with the province on a project aimed at leaving a lasting legacy from this summer's World Cup. As CTV's Ben Nesbitt reports, they're hoping to inspire kids from all corners of BC to get outside and enjoy the beautiful game.
Over 25 days, Vancouver will welcome soccer fans from around the globe, a sporting spectacle like few other, and an opportunity to showcase the city and province. But officials want to ensure locals will benefit from it well beyond the final whistle.
This moment is also about far more than what happens during the tournament. It's about what happens because of it and the legacy that we leave behind.
The province is partnering with the Vancouver Whitecaps and Via Sport to fund 20 mini soccer pitches across all regions in the province.
This really helps us with underserved communities around the province, rural and remote communities especially.
The Whitecaps were previously involved in a similar initiative a few years ago when they partnered with Hope and Health to help provide mini pitches to 9 Indigenous communities across the province. The club will manage the program, and communities will be able to apply on their website in the near future.
Kids that are on mini pitches and play with their friends are not sitting at home in front of a screen, living in a virtual world and seeing content that might be right or not right.
The 3 parties will split the $13 million price tag. The pitches will be hard-surfaced and designed for various sports for year-round use.
Every pitch will help close a long-standing facility gap, and every pitch opens a door for a young person who might not otherwise step on the field.
The minister says a report with the updated cost of hosting the event will be released in late spring. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver is getting ready to turn up the volume for the World Cup with dozens of performers now announced for the FIFA Fan Festival. Rock band Motley Crue and DJ duo KX5 will headline the festival, billed as one of the largest live music events in the city in years. Organizers say multiple performances will be held at the Peony Amphitheatre each day of the 28-day celebration. Several other artists were also announced, including Down with Webster, Arkells, Simple Plan, Flo Rida, and Our Lady Peace. Tickets will be available through a pre-sale starting at 10 a.m. on March 31st before a public sale on April the 2nd. That amphitheater is going to look so stunning, don't you think?
Absolutely, and I'm so excited for those concerts. Songs of my youth. I'll be there for sure.
Yeah. Flo Rida's been here a lot. He's usually here during the concert series at the PNE, so I think he likes it in Vancouver.
Yeah, and it's always neat going to a concert that's outside.
Yes,
and you've got the cover just in case it rains. Okay, a viral collectible craze is now headed to Hollywood. Sony Pictures confirming it has greenlit a movie based on the popular Labubu plush toys. A script is still in the works, but the movie is set to be a mix of CGI and live action. The toys, with their monstrous but cute appearance, have become a global sensation. Paul King, best known for Paddington and Wonka, will direct and produce the film. Do you guys have anyone in your lives who loves Labubu?
I want one. No. I can't get my hands on one. They're a hot commodity.
It appeals to all ages, I guess. Yeah. All right, we'll get to the Sawatsky sign-off in a moment. Dimitra, what's coming up tonight, though, at 11:30?
Amy Jung, lots to cover tonight. Coming up at 11:30, we're keeping an eye on the atmospheric river that continues to impact the region. We're also following 2 evacuation alerts and a state of a local emergency that were in place in the Fraser Valley district due to high flows in the Chilliwack River. Amy Jung?
Yeah, it seems like it took a few days, but now we're seeing some of the consequences of all this rain.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Dimitra. They met in high school, but Cupid's arrow didn't hit until years later. Unfortunately, the timing lined up with a naval deployment. But as Adam explains in this Encore Sawatsky sign-off, that set the stage for the surprise of a lifetime.
This is the story of how a ship departed with something meaningful on board, but arrived months later with that item unexpectedly on shore. A story that begins, Shaylin Ross says, after meeting Scott Colson in high school.
I asked if he wanted to go with me to prom, and he said no. I know. It felt like rejection. It stung, and I have not let him forget it ever since.
Shaylin's joking. Everything was fine. They were just friends. It wasn't until years later that they unexpectedly reconnected and became best friends.
And we would just stay up all night talking, like endlessly, and laughing and giggling.
And so every day was just such a good day.
You could just be vulnerable right off the bat.
Better and better every day.
Every day for more than a year, until that one day.
And I remember looking at him and it just like hitting me in the gut, like, oh my God, I love this man.
So they embarked on a romantic relationship until Scott, who serves in the Navy, was deployed on a mission to the other side of the Pacific for 6 months.
Leaving for any amount of time is no fun, especially when you're in love.
So, before they said goodbye, Scott started making a secret plan, which included asking her parents' permission, buying a ring he kept safe in this locker on the ship, and flying Shaylin to Japan for his Christmas break, where he arranged a surprise proposal.
The full body electric jolt that I got, seeing him down on one knee, indescribable.
I had this whole thing planned out that I was going to say. Everything was lost when I went down on my knee, and I just said, "Will you marry me?"
Yes, 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 a million times yes.
Which was followed days later by a billion goodbyes when she had to return to Canada and he had to continue his mission for another 3 months.
It was a tough goodbye, for sure, her leaving.
But that only made him arriving back after half a year more wonderful.
Finally hold my fiance. It felt just incredible.
And that's how a ship that departed with something special on board arrived home with it being worn by someone special on shore. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
Aww.
What a sweet story.
Yeah.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, but at least there are more ways you can keep in touch now.
Yeah. Oh,
FaceTime,
definitely.
Zoom.
Yeah.
I know it's not the same, but you can't. There's technology does help a little bit in that regard.
Definitely. I wonder how their wedding was, if they got married yet.
Yeah, we'll have to do an update on them.
Adam, get on it. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. Some sunny breaks in Summerland. Thanks, Les, for sending this beautiful photo in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Beautiful. And spring is upon us,
tomorrow
right?
morning at 7:46, and we'll see some sunny breaks in the afternoon, finally.
Right on cue
Yes.
with spring. All right, thanks, Ann. Demetra is back tonight at 11:30. Thanks for watching.